Hello.
Hello, yes, sir.
Yeah. We will start by 5:15. Another 2 minutes.
Okay, no issues, no issues. I'm
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. These girls are going in buses. Huh? Acha. But they are going to listen to our class in the bus. Or? Not many people. Only 122. What's that 6 set? My dear students, are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's good. Dear students, today we have at another great speaker, accomplished professional, Dr. Kanika Malik, who is going to spend some time with us today to educate all of us on everything about copyrights. Copyrights are so important in the knowledge era. Dr. Kanika Malik, just I will give her brief profile to all of you so that you can also get inspired how she rose to such a senior position by her sheer hard work and her academic accomplishments. Dr. Kanika Malik received her BSc honors in botany from Delhi University and MSc and PhD in biotechnology like all of you. Most of our students, most of you are from the life sciences here. So to her credit, she also passed DL 101, the WIPO Academy course in intellectual property rights with distinction. She has 25 years of professional experience, out of which 17 years in the field of intellectual property rights. Performed research in the field of biotechnology at two of the most prestigious Indian institutions, that is National Research Center on Plant Biotechnology in New Delhi and National Research Center on DNA fingerprinting at National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, New Delhi. Also, she worked in containment facility of level 4 for biosafety measures of GM crops. So she is a hardcore life sciences person as far as her education is concerned, but she also worked as a senior examiner of patents and designs in Delhi branch patent office with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. So yes, she brings the experiences of both science and as well as a patent examiner. So she is very useful to all of you to understand various concepts of intellectual property rights. She was very actively involved in the amendment of Indian Patent Act. The Indian Patent Act was amended 3 times since 1995 when India signed the WTO pact and become a member of the TRIPS agreement. Since then, to align our intellectual property policy of India, the Indian Patent Act was to amend thrice. She was part of that amendment as well. Since August 2006, she has been with the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. CSIR is one of the largest scientific body in our country where more than 10,000 scientists works in research and development. She is currently a principal scientist. She has been associated with 3 journals published from NISCAIR, that is CSIR, one of the prestigious CSIR lab. The journals are Journal of Intellectual Property Rights, which is very relevant for all of you, and Indian Journal of Engineering and Mineral Sciences, Material Sciences, and Applied and Innovative Research Journal. She is also a regular faculty for short-term courses and intellectual property rights conducted by CSIR. Dr. Kanika Malik is also Secretary of Indian Women Scientists Association, Honorary Member of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, Administrative Staff College of India, Hyderabad, and Center for Organization Development, Hyderabad. During her scientific career, Dr. Malik has been awarded with many awards like Distinguished Scientist Award, Young Scientist Award, Science Communication Award, Young Scientific Fellow Awards, etc. She has also been a member of a number of national and international scientific committees, delivered invited talks, presented papers, and chaired the technical sessions in various conferences. Kanika Malik has published a number of research papers in international SCI journals. She has guided many students for their PG programs. Currently, Dr. Malik is the editor of Journal of Intellectual Property Rights and Applied Innovative Research Journal published from CSIR NISCAIR, and also handling the business development, innovation, entrepreneurship, diffusion research programs. So friends, we are very, very fortunate to have with us today Dr. Kanika Malik. She brings a lot of experience and she can definitely inspire all of you. And by seeing her biodata itself, gives you a lot of inspiration, motivation to all of us, So please make use of this wonderful opportunity. She is very kind enough to share her experiences, particularly with young students like you, because we all want you people to be knowledge embedded with all of you, so that you will be able to contribute for the development of our nation. So all our efforts are towards that, and make use of this wonderful opportunity by listening to her lecture carefully and also raise questions properly, so that whatever doubts you have been asking all these days, particularly in copyrights, it is a wonderful opportunity because she is an authority in copyrights. She was also a patent examiner. She is also an editor of the Intellectual Property Journal. So there is no better person than Dr. Kanika Malik to address on this talk, to give this talk on copyrights. So it is up to you how you make use of her expertise or her availability to you during next 2 hours. Dr. Kanika, I request you to give a talk to all our students. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Purushottam, for your nice words in the and this was not a brief biodata. It was very explicit and it's well explained by the point. And I would like to deliver. In fact, I was very happy when you told me that all of these are the MSc students.
Yes,
Recently,
yeah.
recently I delivered a lecture to the Delhi University students for the career option in intellectual property rights. So generally, these students, they don't know what are the career options. So if they are like inspired, so they this is a very you can say promising field in coming days. So
Great.
yeah,
Yeah, we request you subsequently also. We aimed at inspiring all students studying in Andhra University. Now we've introduced this course as a mandatory credit course. Now this
yes,
as a pilot mode we started for MSc students. Now we have pharmacy students, we have engineering students. About 5,000 engineering students are there. So we need your definitely your guidance and help to motivate our students, so that our
yes, yes,
students also will be at par with the best of the students in the world.
I'll be there always.
Yeah. Thank you. I know. You please
So
go ahead with your presentation, madam.
yeah, shall I share?
Yeah. Please.
Is it visible?
Is it visible? Okay, just one second. Is it is visible?
Okay. So today's topic, which was given to me, is about copyright. So we'll be talking about each and every aspect of copyright in this presentation, right? And if you have any questions, we can discuss them later on. Or even if you want to interrupt me and we can discuss in between too. I have no issues with that. Okay. So we'll be talking about copyright, how copyright is being originated, specifically in India, and how copyright is being infringed, what are the remedies available for copyright infringement, and other enforcement related issues with the copyright if there is any infringement, so how we can enforce our copyright, and the status of book piracy in India, because all of you are being into the universities and the colleges. So how this book piracy being is being proliferated by these infringers of copyright. We'll be discussing all these aspects in this presentation. Now, first of all, what is copyright? Copyright is composed of two words, copy and right. So what is copy and what is right and what is wrong about this copy, right? So copyright is the right, it is a right which is being given by the law to the creator in the field of literary, dramatic, musical, and a variety of other works of mind. Copyright being the intellectual property, we have seen other types of intellectual properties also, like patents, trademarks, industrial designs, and then trade secrets, etc. There are so many intellectual property rights. But how copyright is being different from other intellectual property rights? All other rights are called as industrial right, while copyright is in the area of literary and dramatic field or musical field, like that. So these rights are very much different from other industrial rights, and copyright is not a single right like other IPR. It is a bundle of rights. So I'll be telling you all what are the rights which are involved in copyright. And as I have told you that it is a right to copy, so that this right to copy is only to the creator and it is being given by the law. So it has got some legal sanctity also, which is being associated with this particular right. And it means that the creator alone has the right to make copies of his work, or he has another right of preventing copying of his work. So both these rights, the positive right as well as the negative right, are with the creator only. So what was the need to have such type of right over creations, right? So the basic idea behind such protection was that all these innovations were there in the society, and they need to have some kind of incentives, right? If they have to be incentivized, so then only it motivates the society and inspires the other members of the society to work in that particular area and innovate more for the promotion and the advancement of the society. So this was the basic idea behind giving such intellectual property rights, and specifically the copyright. Copyright, it recognizes that there was some need in the society. Like, I'll tell you one example. We know these authors, all these authors of the story writing, right? So story writing is a field, but on what templates, on what subjects these authors write is some requirement of the society. Either something wrong is there in the society, or something is there in the society which needs to be told to everyone else apart from that small group, right? So this was the need. If that particular story would have been retained by the storyteller or the story writer, then that subject would not have been broadcasted to a people at large. So that was the idea, how to broadcast, how to disseminate the information, how to communicate with the people, and on the same time, you provide certain rights so that it should not be exploited by other people. But the right allows exploitation of the piece, of the written portion of any performance or any art to the copyright holder, that only he can exploit it at a commercial level. So it also yields the creator to that way that he can make some money also out of it, and he can be rewarded by the government for his creation. So it is, we can say that it is a reward to the creator by the government for his creation. So this was the basic idea behind providing such type of rights to the creator of this intellectual property. The copyright, basically, we can say, if we go by the history, it originated with the invention of the printing press by Gutenberg in 15th century. This printing press, what it does, it made easy multiplication facility for the books which were it has also increased in the voluminous increase was shown in the illegitimate printing of the authorized books. So this became, we can say that this became the origin of this copyright in case of, if we say about this publication facility or in the publication industry. So by the invention of this printing press, there were adoption of many unfair practices such as unauthorized printing by the competing printer. So there was a need that there should be some kind of like check on this unauthorized printing. So this became the basis for the copyright. Now, first copyright law, it originated in 1710. This was the first law on copyright which came into existence, and it was in England. And it was known as Queen Anne Statute. It provided the authors with the right to reprint their books for a certain number of years. Now, this certain number of years was 14 years initially, and then again they can apply for the renewal of that protection again for the 14 years. But for all those books which were already in the print form, for those books, the authors were provided 21 years of protection. But if there was some infringement, how it was checked? Those infringing copyright has to pay a fine of 1 penny for every sheet of the book. Look at the expense which was caused for the infringing. They have to pay 1 penny, and from that 1 penny for every page, half of the amount goes to the author and half of the amount goes to the crown. So this was the penalty on the infringer even at that time. So you can see how important was this right even in the 17th century. Now, when we say what was the necessity of the copyright, it was a reward that I've already told you, and it was an exclusive right. But this exclusive right, when we call for this exclusive right, it is for a limited time. It is not that once the copyright is being given, it is for unlimited period. No, it has got some limited period, and it is a negative right in the sense that it prevents others from copying and reproduction of the creation of the creator. And why it was necessary? Because it encourages dissemination of the copyrighted work, and it was in the public interest. Otherwise, that work would have been limited to the creator only, and that knowledge would have gone like many traditional knowledge which we are facing. You must have seen that nowadays in case of IPR, India needs to fight so many cases. You have this example of Haldi case, Haldi patent case. So likewise, the knowledge was with us, but that was not registered. So we need to fight now that it is ours. So in order to establish the priority or the belongingness of that knowledge, this copyright was necessary. Okay, the government decided we should give some kind of right to the creator so that the creator now shares that knowledge which belongs to him or he created in the public interest. So it was a way that not only the creator gets benefit out of the copyright products, but also the other members of the society. So in a way, it is for the development of the society. Now, what is the nature of copyright? When we say the nature of copyright, it is statute based. That means it is governed by the law. Though it is governed by the law, but no registration is necessary. If we say that even if it is not registered, then also law recognizes the copyright of the copyright holder, because it is a type of intellectual property of the copyright holder. And the copyright involves a combined rights, like in the act says that it is in the field of literary works, the right to reproduce in hardback, in paperback editions, the right of translation, right of adaptation, or any form in which it can be expressed. Only the author or the creator has the right. So this kind of different rights over only one creation the author enjoys. Now, when we talk about that copyright, I told you that it is in the form of expression or the creation only. It's all the ideas which are there with the creator, they cannot be copyrighted until and unless they are into some kind of expression. And this Grigori Committee report, this Grigori Committee is the last committee which became I can say, the basis of the formation of our present day Copyright Act 1957, the Indian Copyright Act. So this is the last committee, and it said that the copyright is only in the form of expression. It is not in the idea. And if it is not being into some kind of expression, then one cannot have any right. So if you have an idea, you need to express it. You have to write it. You have to make it into printed form, or you have to write a book, or you can perform it, or you can write in a poetic form, or you make an image of your idea. That also becomes a part of copyright. So some kind of expression given to your idea becomes the subject matter of protection under the Copyright Act. So it is only in the materialistic form. That is the only criteria of fixation, that you have the copyright over your creation. Copyright, we say it is also important because it adds to the national economy. There are many copyrighted industries which are in this field, and they add to our national economy and the development of the nation. How these copyright-based industries, they generate a huge employment in the country of its origin, right? From the production and the sale of the copyright products, these industries, they contribute in the form of excise duty, they contribute in the form of sales tax, they pay the income tax, and all these taxes, they contribute to our national economy. And then if the copyright product is in such a demand, it is very popular, then it is being exported to other countries also, and then it adds to the national exchange reserves. So this is so important. Now, what are these industries which are into this copyright business? The printing and publication of books, newspapers, journals, periodicals, sales of audio products, production and distribution of cinemas, videos, cables, broadcastings, computer software, databasing, then radio and television advertisement, then photography industry, dramatic industry, musical performance. We have this Bollywood, Hollywood, Tollywood, all these industries are into the copyright business. Then pottery, architecture, infrastructure, sculpture, designing, even culinary industry. These industries, all these industries are into the copyright business. So you can say, you name an industry and there is a copyright in that industry. So that is a huge potential is there in this copyright business. When we talk about the copyright treaties at the international level, the base treaty is the Berne Convention. It was concluded in 1886 and there were several amendments after that. And this was the basic multilateral agreement to protect the literary and artistic works worldwide. And all those countries which are party to this convention, likewise India joined or ratified this treaty on 28th April 1928. This convention has to provide copyright protection to the literary and the artistic works of the member countries in its own territory. In the similar manner, to same rights are being provided as the rights which they provide to their citizens. So now India being signatory and all those countries who are being signatory to this treaty, Berne Convention, they are under obligation to provide the similar protection in this area, literary and artistic works, to all those people who are party to this convention, and they are coming from the countries who are party to this convention, right? So we are under obligation. This Berne Convention, it was revised, like Dr. Purushottam told you that many a times we revise our acts. Why we revise? We revise because whenever we feel that there is a need and our citizens should be protected in first manner, so we, according to our territorial needs, according to our national needs, we need to revise these conventions, these treaties, these acts. So under revision, this Berne Convention, there was this revision in 1971. This is very important. It is called as Paris Act. And it is important for the developing countries like us because it provided special provision that all those translations and the reproductions of the copyright material can be done under the fair use provision. So this fair use provision was provided by this Paris Act. It is called Paris Act, and it is only for the educational purposes. It was provided. In India, we have this Copyright Act 1957. We have Section 52, which deals with this fair use provision. So it is a very important provision for our education system and for the development of the developing countries. So when we say the copyright status in India, India Copyright Act, it is the first act which we adopted was in 1914. And this act is very much similar to the first act of copyright, that is 1710 Statute of N. And this act was almost, we can say, a replication of this act, 1710 Act. But after major revisions, we adopted 1957 Copyright Act, and it has major provisions. English provisions were there actually because it was the basis. 1710 Act was the basis. But similarly, during the amendments, we introduced new ideas and concepts while revising this act, and now we are following the Copyright Act of 1957, though there are certain amendments from time to time in this act too. Now, our Copyright Act, it came into existence on 21st January 1958. and it provides the right on the original act in the literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works, and in the cinematographic films and sound recordings. Now, this was the major protection, or the first protection which was being conferred in this 1958 act, which enacted in 1958. Actually, it is a 1957 act. So this original word means that it should not be, the work should not be copied from other works, and it should not be the outcome of, it should be the outcome of independent effort. That means it should not be like the collaborative efforts of many people and then individual copyrights and then they bundle into a one copyright. No, one creation, one copyright was conferred. So that was the basic copyright protection which was given by this act. Now, what are the rights in the copyright which are being given by this act to the creators? Now, the act says the copyright holder can do or authorize others doing a number of activities. That means he can authorize others in these activities. So what are the activities? They were specifically and very explicitly described in the act, that he can reproduce the work in the material form. Any materialistic form, he can reproduce his work. He has already produced, so he has got the right after the production. Now he can reproduce. Then he can publish his work. The same work can be published in any form. The same work can be performed in public or communicated to the public in any form, only by the copyright holder. Then the copyright holder only has the right to make a film on his work, or he has the only right to record his work in the same work on which he has a copyright. Now he can reproduce, he can produce, he can perform, he can publish, and any translation or adaptation of all these activities which are being listed from A to D. The act says like that. So every action on his work is being protected by the act. Now, when we say it is an exclusive right, that means the creator has alone the right to enjoy all these rights which were given in the clause that from A to D, all those rights I'm talking about, to exclude others. So, and we say that act says like that, but the copyright is being given by the virtue of his creation. That is also being said by the act, and it is been described. Once it has been created, no need to go for registration. The moment it is being created, you have the copyright. But there are certain exceptions to that even. The creator, if he is being employed by someone, and having been employed, he creates certain work, right? I'll give you one example. If some person, he joins this industry, like he joins in Bollywood, there are certain stories on which some songs are to be produced. So what does this lyricist does? Now this lyricist is being employed by the producer or the director for writing some songs on a story. So while writing a song on a story, and he is being given that job by his employer. So once he writes, so right becomes, the copyright becomes of that of the employer. If he is being employed, he is being paid for that particular job, then the right is with the employer. So this is the exception. And there is one other exception, is that if the creator transfer his copyright by a document, by a deed of assignment in writing to another person, then also the copyright holder, the original creator, is not having any right on his creation. Now, these are the certain exceptions on which the creator alone cannot enjoy his rights. Now, when we say that it is a limited right, limited monopoly over the creation, that means the scope of rights are defined. These are defined by law. The law says that the rights can be enjoyed during the lifetime of the author plus 60 years after his death. And if the creation was under joint authorship or joint creation, then 60 years period is calculated from the beginning of the calendar year, following which the last surviving author dies. So it is after the second author, 60 years after that. So who enjoys these rights after the death of the author? These are the legal heir of the authors to which his property is going after his death. So those persons can enjoy the right after the 60 years. Then copyright in case of photographs or the cinematographic films or the sound recordings, it is the 60 years period after its first publication, the rights goes. Now, when we were talking about this fair use provision, which was given under the Paris Act to the developing countries, it means there should be some balance between the societal needs for the access to knowledge and the need to rewarding the creators, some limited uses. Now, what are these limited uses which are being given under the fair use is, our act is under section 52 says that exception list, it includes reproduction of literary, dramatic, musical or artistic works only for educational purposes. Educational purposes means it can be used for a research purpose, for a review or reporting in newspaper or magazines or periodicals. Likewise, all these are the educational. We are educating the masses, we are educating the students, we are educating like general public. So in a way that can be used under fair use provision, but only under this provision we can use it, not for the commercial purpose. Now when we talk about the enforcement, how it is being enforced, we have this provisions, dual provisions in our act. We have a copyright board, then it can be enforced through courts also. And there are legal remedies which include the imprisonment, and there are monetary fines if there is certain penalty, and this imprisonment as well as the monetary fines, they depend on the gravity of crime. If the crime is of a higher level, then the imprisonment period is also high and the monetary fines are also high. And sometimes the remedies are also like seizures and forfeitures and destruction of the infringing copies and the plates used for making such copies in the publication business. If the infringer is the publication business, then these plates are even destroyed. So this is the kind of penalty which is being there, and the provisions are there. And our act, when it was amended in 1984, what we did during amendment, we made this infringement a cognizable and a non-bailable offense. The infringer is need to pay also, and if he is behind the bars, then it is a non-bailable offense. He has to complete his punishment. So if any person who knowingly infringes and abets the infringement of the copyright and is considered as an offender, he is being considered as an offender by the court of law. Then minimum of 6 years and the maximum of 3 years. This is the quantum of punishment. He has to be behind the bars, and a fine which is being imposed is somewhere between 50,000 to 2 lakh rupees he need to pay. So this is a very we can say that it is a cognizable offense. It is not a normal offense that when someone infringes with the copyright material. Now I will see how this copyright, we are saying that it is a right, we have a right. How this copyright and right becomes wrong. In case of literary works, it means that illegal reproduction of books and other printed materials and their distribution and selling of these materials for profit becomes the ground for infringement. If the person illegally reproduce printing material and even he distributes illegally, though the material is not reproduced by him, but even if he distributes it, distributes it and he sells the material for his profit, then also it becomes a ground for infringement and he has to be taken to the law. Now, in generally we have seen that wholesale reprinting of text and the trade books, this is there in the market, and then unauthorized translations are there, and then commercial photocopying of books and journals, this is very much there around the universities. We have these photocopiers around your university, you must have seen. So if they reproduce or they print these books or photocopy these books in an illegitimate manner, then also it is a ground of like copyright infringement for them. And there is a publishing fake books. Sometimes these books are also there. They publish these books, the publishers, with some illegitimate authors. Like these authors are fake authors by writing somebody's names, and then they copy the actual matter from the books and they produce in the as a like their book. So what they are doing, they are just passing by this fair use provision. They are just being passing by with this provision that the copyright is in the expression. Likewise, the idea can be the same, the story can be the same, but when the act says that it is only in the expression, so what they do, they publish another book with some other author and they just copy paste and they release these books in the market. So this is also a ground of copyright infringement. Now, when there are these infringement cases, how they are being decided in the court of law? The law says no copyright in an idea, and the violation of the copyright is confined to form, the manner, the arrangement, and the expression of idea by the author. On the same story, you can have different form, you can have different conclusions on the same story, you can write it in a different manner. One can write a story, another person can make a film over it, but how you are infringing, how you are not infringing the copyright material, that is being decided by the court of law. Now, when the same idea developed in different manner, then similarities are bound to happen. This is for sure. But how court decides? Court to rule on whether these similarities are merely substantial or fundamental of that particular story, right? That need to be established. I'll give you a basic example, very basic example. We have this Ramayana, which was written by Valmiki. Okay, so it was the copyright material of Valmiki. He wrote it in certain poetic form. The form was poetic. But after that, there were many writers on Ramayana. Ramayana was written in books. Ramayana was written in stories. Ramayana was written in prose. Ramayana was written in poetic form. Ramayana, there were serials on Ramayana. There were films on Ramayana. There were cassettes on Ramayana. So how many forms were there? And the story was different. But all these peoples in these transformations, in these forms, in these manners, they were individual copyright holders of their creations because there were differences in the substantial and the fundamental form of their expression. So one needs to define. The story was same, so there has to be same characters. All characters have to be same. But how you are telling the story, what incidents you are quoting, even for the incidents, the court says, well, if the incidents are there, then there is no copyright infringement, because if there are incidental similarities, like if Sita was abducted by Ravana, then that incident has to be told in that manner only. She has to be like abducted only by the Ravan, right? So that was the incidental similarity. So there was no copyright infringement in that particular episode or showing that thing in a film or in a story, right? So that way the court decides. If there is the same theme and presentation is different, it is a completely new work and there is no infringement. This is how the court is, these judgments are being made. And then there is a viewer's test also. This also court does, that does the reader or the spectator or the viewer have the opinion, or in the first instance, like the unshakable impression that the second work is a copy of the original. That also is being taken care while deciding these infringement cases in the court of law. Now, since as Dr. Purushottam told you that this NISCARE publishes research journals, we are into the publication business of scientific research journals, and we require these papers from the authors, right? These researchers, they submit the papers to the journals or the NISCARE journals. But while getting the paper from the author, what kind of right we require to publish that work, so that NISCARE does not, or NISPER does not infringe the right of the author. So this type of, this is the deed of assignment kind of a right which we require from the author while inviting papers, that any article which is being accepted for publication or published in our journal will be the copyright of the journal. Now what we are doing, the right was of the copyright holder or the author or the researcher or the scientist, but we are getting this right in written form from the author. Now the journal has the right to publish the accepted articles in any media. In the print media also we publish it on at online platform also, or we can publish it in a DVD or in a CD. So any form we can publish it. Now what we are doing, we are getting the publication rights from the author. We are not infringing his copyright, but the publication right. Now after submitting the paper to our journal, the author does not have any publication right because he has transferred the publication right to the NISPER. Then the author should agree to transfer the copyright and sign a declaration to this effect. Then only we take papers. Otherwise, we don't take papers without this declaration. Right? So this is the type of right. We are getting a right from the copyright for the printing and production of his paper or his knowledge or his creation. Now, how this book piracy is being done in India? This is being done mostly with the foreign books or a very good indigenous books. For a normal books which are not required by the public or which are not, like the public is not interested by large, so those books are, or they are not the problem. But the problem is with the foreign books and the good indigenous books. Why? Either of these books, either they are the highly priced books like these professional books, medical engineering books, or scientific encyclopedia or popular fictions, which are like in demand, always they are in demand. So they come under this book piracy. And also these books which are very popular like the NCERT books. Most of you must have seen, whenever this NCERT books, they come to the market, they are in high demand and there is always a shortage of these books. Now what these pirators do? What do? They print these books in illegitimate matter. They don't have any assignment or any like contract from the NCERT. Even then they publish or they print these books and they make these books available on the same shelves in the market. So they are under book piracy in India. And one can say that in India, the status is like that. The pirated books are printed in such large numbers through these unscrupulous printers, and they are sold along with the legitimate or the original books by the same retailers. So you can say that it is a mafia which is being going along in this piracy. And this mass photocopying, this must be there in your area also around your university, because these books are also in high demand and always the students need their books. So what they do, the students, they get the books from the library and they go to the photocopier for like printing of certain chapters from these books. But these photocopiers, they are so smart. They keep these books on the pretext that, okay, I'll give you this, I'm busy and I'll give this book to you tomorrow. I'll photocopy your material and return it to you. But there are certain photocopiers which copy whole book, not one chapter, not just 2 paragraphs. They copy the whole book, and they even the entire book along with the cover page. And these books are available in a very low price to the students. So they are getting profit out of these books, which are being borrowed, which was the property of the library of the university or the college. And in this process, what is being done? There is a damage to the publishers. There is damage to the copyright industry of our country. There is damage to the economy. So we are losing a huge revenue by these actions of the even photocopiers. Now, when these, I was telling you, these printers, they print the book in a certain, they have this contract period. But certain publishers or the printers, what do? They publish and reprint the same books of some foreign authors or by any means if they catch hold of those books, and they keep on selling these books even after the contract period. Now, who's going to see what was the contract period? The seller, the retailer, he won't see. The consumer or the buyer, they won't see. So what they are doing? They are selling these books beyond the contract period. It is also a pirated form of copyright infringement, and this is being done in the pretext of clearing. They say that we are clearing their old stock. If they are caught hold of, they say it is an old stock, and we have this old stock of the period where we have this contract period, right? So the same period is being continued because it is an old stock, and they are being sell on the same shelves where the legitimate books are there. This type of books, like we have certain books which are being sent to our experts in India from foreign authors for review. Now these books are also these publishers or the printers, they got hold of these books also, and when they have access to such books, they make prints, and these prints are available in the market even much before the prints, the actual prints which prints from the actual distributors in the market. So you can see how this book piracy is being proliferating in India. But what is it being done to this industry, the copyright industry? The publishers they are getting less sales out because of this book piracy, and the authors, they are not getting their royalty. So what we are doing, we are unnecessarily, what we are doing, we are creating a hurdle in the development of the nation, or we can say a development of the globe. So it is also creating like national economy. It is not benefiting to our national exchequer also because of non-payment of income tax. We can say that it is the levies which are payable to the publishers, they are not being paid. So what we are doing, we are the real culprits. Why? If we are doing this book piracy. And book piracy, if you see, about 20 to 25% of the books which are being sold in the Indian markets are being pirated. And if there are, though there are some agencies, like some industries, what they have done, they have made their like what you can say corporate offices or corporations or some societies are there, or some associations are there. Even these associations are not able to control this book piracy. Look at the like status. 20 to 25% of the books are the pirated books in the Indian markets. though the remedies are there, we have two types of remedies, like civil remedies are also there, then criminal remedies are also there. Like injunctions, damages can be put on, then costs can be put on the infringers, then accounts of these infringers, they can be seized. Then the act says that it is a cognizable offense and there is an imprisonment, there is a fine. But still, the piracy is going on because the enforcement is not there. We are weak in enforcement. Though the act is in force, the act is in place. We have every remedy, every provision is there. We have defined the rights, we have defined the infringements, but the piracy is still there. Now, if we look about the civil remedies, it is a very effective remedy. In this, the court has to weigh the damage. The case has to be put before the judge, and the judge has to weigh the damage to the plaintiff. If the injunction is not granted, as opposed to the damage to the defendant, and then court can order the restraining orders to the offender to immediately stop the production of the copyright work. So this type of similar remedy is there. And when we talk about the criminal remedies, our section 64 says that any police officer above of the rank of sub-inspector or above the rank of sub-inspector can seize the infringing copies without any warrant. This provision is there, and the police can also impose raids. Power of search is there, seizure is there, arrest is there without any warrant. And on top of that, police can also impose the fine looking at the gravity of the crime from 50,000 to 2 lakh rupees, and imprisonment also there from 6 months to 3 years, depending upon the gravity of the crime. But there are certain issues with the enforcement. What are these issues? With the police, there are certain issues. Then with the public also, there are certain issues. With the copyright law, there are certain issues which hamper this enforcement. Now, these issues are there that either we are not fully aware about the law. The police is also not aware. The general public is also not aware what are the provisions in the Copyright Act. So, though police is empowered enough, but since they are not aware, so it becomes very difficult for them to assess whether it is an infringement or not. And also there is lack of adequate number of personnel who are fully devoted to this infringement system, right? Our police is like very much concerned. There are other heinous crimes, there are other laws, there are other acts in the criminal acts or the civil acts that are there in which our police is engaged. So there is a normal like law and order problems are always there with this our police force. So that is why these type of reports or these type of like complaints are not given so much credit by the police officers also. And the general public, what we are doing when we go to the market and we buy a book, do we see this copyright mark? Do we see? No, we are not interested, as we are interested only about the price of the product. As far as the book is available at a low rate, we'll go for the low price book. So general public is also responsible for the creation of this book piracy. So this is the last slide, and these are the journals to which I am associated. I am editor of Journal of Intellectual Property Rights and editor of this Journal of Applied and Innovative Research. Both of these journals are like being published from NISCARE. I'm telling NISCARE, but now we have merged the NISTADS and the NISCARE. Both institutes are being merged, and now we are National Institute of Science, Communication and Policy Research. So both the journals are being published from NISPER, and both the journals are in open access mode, and we have this specific journal in IPR. We publish the copyright related articles also in this journal on every aspect of intellectual property rights we publish. And here we publish the innovative research. This is the innovative research in the field of science and technology. All those papers, research papers are being published. So thank you very much for the patient listening. And I'll be happy if there are any questions related to this. Dr. Purushottam? Anindya? Are there?
So, ma'am,
Yes.
just a minute, ma'am, just a minute.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful lecture. My dear students, yeah, if you have any specific questions, I think you should come prepared. You know, it's a wonderful topic, and generally we will not be having a good number of experts in this area. Though, in spite of her busy schedule, Madam has agreed to share her perspectives and to educate all of us. I again advise all the students, don't hesitate whether it is a simple question or a complex question. As long as you do not know, you please come forward and ask. Don't worry about and don't feel shy about that. The question is great or not great, but what is important is that as long as you do not know answer to the doubt, you are an innocent or ignorant person. So try to get clarified from the experts, and with great difficulty, we rather assembled accomplished people in this area of intellectual property rights in patents, trademarks, copyrights, designs, you know. So you people should make use of the availability of the experts with all of us, and try to clarify whatever doubts you have in this. You know, we would like to now spend more time on question answers once we talk about the brief process about what are different types of intellectual property rights. Today we talked about copyrights, the creation, the protection, the monetization, or the commercialization. So in that process, the most important thing is in our society is what is happening in copyrights is, I think in no other area, this kind of an infringement at a scale of what is happening in copyright is not happening in other intellectual property rights, you know. So one major reason Madam said is that lack of awareness, and we are all also responsible for that. We wanted to get things at a cheaper price. We don't worry about the author's rights. So we also should feel sensitive enough, you know, to respect the rights of the creators. Unless we ourselves create that kind of a resistance, not to buy that kind of a copied products, you know, then this IP culture cannot be created in the society. So the most important thing is that the law is in place, but we are not aware how to get benefits out of this law, how to get this infringement suits filed, or how to train people, you know, to identify these infringements, the enforcement. So all these things are very, very important in the knowledge economy, and you should come out with some fundamental questions to the madam. If you have any questions? Any questions are there? I think there are one or two questions, madam. We can try
Yes.
to answer them. The first question is that, sir, books publication purpose, where we wanted to go. Rajesh, I think books
For-
publication purpose, you have to go to, I think, to the publisher, some good publishers. I think
Yes.
probably you can answer it, madam.
Yes. Any publisher you can go to. Whosoever wishes to publish your book, you can go to any publisher.
You can also give some names of the publishers. Probably the students may not be knowing. like McGraw-Hill, Tata, and
Yes, sir.
yeah,
There
Sage.
are many, Sage publications are there. Yes, many publications are there.
Publishers are publishing houses are there. So you approach them if they like your content and your book, then they will ask for your copyright. You need to transfer to them, then they will publish
Yes.
it. Yeah, but probably you
But
can.
before, yes, I would like to add here that once you approach these publication houses with your book, then you must go into some non-disclosure agreement with these publishers, because you are sharing your content with these publishers. So in order to avoid the piracy of your own creation, then you must go for non-disclosure agreement that they will not disclose, and you need to record that meeting or that whatever for what purpose you are going. So you, that has to be recorded. All papers should be there with you in order to claim your priority of your work, because if it is not being registered by the with the copyright registry, then you have to have your priority, right? So you need to have that non-disclosure agreement with the publisher that this is my, if they publish, fine. If they don't publish, then at least they won't publish with their name, right?
Yes, yeah. This is very, very important. I think the students also should understand the registration of copyrights are not mandatory. Though you get the right as soon as you created it, but you many people, they don't go for registration. When you don't go for registration, and if you approach any of the publisher can cheat you. So what is important is that, as madam said, you should record all the documentary evidence, the meetings, the decisions what you have taken, the rights what you are passing on to him. All those things have to be properly documented, recorded, and signed. That is very, very important. Then the next question, madam, can we copyright with our pen names when copyrighting a poetry or a novel? Good question. Achila Singh.
Yeah, can you repeat, sir? Can we copyright?
Can we copyright with our pen names when copywriting a poetry or a novel?
Copyright with what names?
Pen names.
10 names.
P and pen. Yeah. Some
Pen
writers.
names. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
You can also see, madam, all these questions are there available in the chat box.
Chat.
Just open the chat box, you will be able to see these questions.
Okay. Yes, I can see.
Yeah.
Yes, now I can see.
Achla Singh.
Achla Singh. Yes, Achla. Yes, we can have copyright with any of our names. Whatever, yeah, many names, but you need to establish that it is your name. So once we are going for any kind of registration or any kind of like protection, the documentary evidence is important. Any pen name with you can go for, like you must have seen these lyricists. They have these pen names and their actual names are different. So they have copyright with their pen names also. You can have copyright with your original name. You can have copyright with your pen name.
Okay. So another question, madam, Mr. Rajesh.
Yes, there is one question. Some books online, do that books don't hold copyright, and at the same time, Google shows some websites with are removed because of copyright infringement. Yes, all these books which are available online, they are under some kind of license with the like broadcasting unit, like the internet. So if they are available on Google, if they are available on platform, Google platform, so there are certain rights which are being assigned to this platform. And likewise, I was telling you, when we publish this papers or in journals, we ask for the publication right. So when these books are available online, that means they are being published by that publisher. So publisher has the publishing rights, and this Google has the right only to showcase their products on their platform, on these websites, right? But when they violate, these are removed. Am I clear?
Is it clear? There is one more question,
Yes.
Rajesh. Publication is possible through universities.
Yes, it is possible to universities. If you are I told you, if you are going for publication, so there are some societies which are being run by the society, run by the university, right? Some you have this chemistry group, and you have some society of some professors, or your chemical this field have some society. So some journals are being published from there. So these universities, they itself are the publishers for those journals. So it is possible from the university.
Yeah, see, generally when you join in a university, one of the conditions of your employment offer letter is that whatever IP you are creating, no, as an employee of the university, in fact, you are assigned that IP to the university. So university can always publish it using their, as madam said, through their journals,
Yes.
or in terms of books, or in terms of monographs, or whatever form it is beneficial to the society, the universities also can publish. But still, you are the copyright owner, and the university is a publisher, like the way you have an understanding or agreement with a publisher. So the university
Yes.
takes the role of a publisher. You will be the owner of the IP, and that relationship exists between you and the university, and the universities can publish it.
Yes, there are certain bylaws of the universities wherein all these provisions are clearly mentioned. Like who will be the owner, what rights are being given. Sometimes the IP are given a certain percentage of the royalty. It must be there in your laws, in the university's bylaws.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is what in our university, madam, we prepared IP or IP law, the intellectual property law. So whatever IP is created by the university faculty or researchers, once it is commercialized or monetized, we prescribe that certain percentage, for example, 70% goes to the IP creators,
Yeah.
30% goes to the university.
Yes.
No, so such kind of a policies have to be put in place, and nowadays many universities, premier institutions have such kind of policies so that it motivates the IP creators in the university.
Yes. Now, next question is how can we know our document is copyrighted or duplicated by unknown? Is there any mechanism to track it?
A very good question. Yeah, any layman can get this kind of a doubt. I think you please
Yes.
clarify, madam. Yeah.
Yes. When we look for any material, any book, for example, so if we see for the second page of the book, it shows when it was printed, when it was published, and the year edition, and there it is clearly mentioned that it is a copyright material of like who is the copyright holder. So there it is clearly mentioned. That is this some symbol is there, a C symbol is there, or P symbol is there for the publication right or the printing rights, right? So there you can see. Or if it isn't being duplicated, if someone has created his own copy, and these copies are also there, they have this C mark also, they have this P mark also, and still these are not the legitimate copies. So it is difficult for a layman to distinguish. That's why piracy business is being proliferated in India. So what you can do, if you are suspicious, you can file a complaint with the copyright registry office that these books are available or this material and with this publisher or this retailer or this publishing house, and there you can file a complaint with the evidence if you are suspicious. But it is very difficult to for a layman to distinguish between the legitimate and the illegitimate product. that I can say.
Yeah. And the same thing, it is applicable to all types of intellectual property, what you are creating. It could be patent, trademark, copyright, but one
Yes.
has to keep a watch in the market, whether someone is copying your IP and getting benefit out of it. So many
Yes.
corporates, what they do is they engage some intelligent agencies, to monitor, like some IP watchdogs or IP agencies who are day in and day out deal with this intellectual property rights. They engage them to monitor, to see whether somebody is copying their IP, or
Yes.
you should have your own section or your own department to see or to watch across the globe whether anyone is copying your thing or infringing your IP. So based on
Yes.
that, one can always take that matter to the court and seek relief as provided in the Act.
Yes. I think this was the last question.
Yeah, there are no questions, madam. I would like to request you to give some examples in the recent origin, some infringement suits or some violations and of the copyrights, which have made a sensation in the media and in the society
Yes, yes,
for
yes.
the benefit
There
of
was,
the.
yeah, I was talking about this mass photocopying. It is very much
రాలేదా?
yes.
వస్తా ఉన్నారు ఒక్క నిమిషం.
So that was the case with the Delhi University. There was one photocopier in the outside the north campus of the Delhi University, and he was caught hold of photocopying books and selling those books to the students at a very low price. And the publisher, he sued that photocopier, and then the photocopier has to not only the shop was closed, the copies were destroyed, his license was cancelled, and he has to go for this monetary punishment also, and then he was behind the jail also. But though this photocopier, then he applied for the bail, and then he appealed to the higher court, and then again the this case was heard, and then he took the plea of this fair use while in appeal to the high court. In the high court, said that I was selling this because the students could not afford, and it was for the only for the education purposes, and I was not getting any benefit because it was very low priced. The books were low priced. This was the plea which was given by the photocopier. But since it was a clear infringement, so this plea was rejected and he was given the punishment. So this was a major case, and it was into this newspapers also.
But
And there are many cases in this Bollywood industry also. Likewise, on these. Sir, you are mute. I cannot hear you.
Ma'am, sir, side might be a network issue.
Yeah. So any other question?
madam.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, now I can hear you.
Hello.
Sir, you're audible, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay. There was in between, there was I was out of the loop. So if you can give one or two examples related to the music industry, the film industry, or probably how students will be well connected with your subject. Because they hear songs, they use music, they see films. If some cases, if anything is there in the recent origin, or even the old ones also, probably that will make them more enlightened.
Yes. Hello.
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 Yes, madam.
Actually, I'm listening my voice only.
Ma'am,
Hello.
sir was connected with two devices, so echo was coming.
Okay. Now it is fine.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's fine.
So there are many like films which are remade on the same some in the Tollywood the film was made and then the same film was made in Hindi in the Bollywood, right? So all these films they are they can be, I cannot say they can be subject of copyright infringement, but what these producers they do, the directors they do, they change certain incidents are same but they change the expression, so just to get away with this infringement business. There are some foreign movies which are remade in Hindi. There are some foreign movies which are made in Tamil. So likewise, the all this film industry they are also under this copyright infringement. They are there, but somehow one need to one when we go for establishment of the right of the copyright holder, then we need to see whether it was incidental or it was a fundamental or it was a substantial difference was there. So likewise the court establishes, I do not remember, recently some Kangana Ranaut movie was there. I forgot the name. There was some infringement cases. Can you recall, Dr. Purushottam? Because I'm not very fond of these movies, so I cannot recall. But there was some movie in the news. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am. You're audible.
Okay. So likewise, there are many cases are there, but one need to see whether it is a total infringement or not. Though in news, these clippings are there, but when these infringement cases are there and they are being appealed in the higher court against the decisions of the lower court also, these decisions change depending upon the quantum of evidence produced by the plaintiff as well as the defendant. So once you are not convicted, then there is no case. But once you are convicted, then only the penalty or the punishment is being imposed, right? So one need to be very sure what is allowed and what is not allowed. So likewise, there are many cases in each and every, like in, I would say in architectural business, these designs of architectural designs of the buildings are there. They are also subject of copyright infringement. If the same design is being copied by another architect and the same building is being produced by any civil engineer on the same design, then also it becomes a copyright infringement. So likewise, there are many cases in every field. There are cases, but the difficulty is how to distinguish, how to make sure that it is an infringed work or the original work, and how to enforce, because our judiciary, our police, and the plaintiff as well as the defendant, all these persons are also not so aware about the provisions of the copyright law. So we can only be sure about
I didn't get it right.
is it Manikarnika? Maybe I'm not sure. I can describe you if you give me any example which you wish. Like I gave you the example of Ramayana, no? Ramayana or any other those mythological.
That is fine, madam. There is one more question from another student, Krishna.
Yes.
Just can you quickly respond to that? You want- there is one more question from Mr. Krishna. Could you see that?
Is there any textbook copyright cases in India? Give some example. Textbook cases, I have already told you, mass photocopying of the book And the textbook cases for the NCERT books, there are many cases for the NCERT textbooks, which are always there. But cases are there, enforcement is not there. That I can say. Then Rajesh is asking, is it possible to submit our publication other than my subject in our university? Yes, you can submit on any subject. Any subject, whether if you are a science student and you want to submit in any artistic field, or you want to submit a story, yes, on any subject, any creation of yours is the subject matter of copyright. Is it clear?
Yeah, I think thank you, Dr. Kanika, for your excellent presentation and clearing the doubts of all our students. And I'm sure all of us got benefited out of your vast experience in the area of intellectual property rights, particularly with reference to copyrights. And our students also got benefit out of your experience, particularly how to create copyrights, how to protect them, and how to monetize them, and how to find out whether somebody infringing their rights or not. So in this process, what we expect is that we don't want our students to become experts in one or two lectures, but at least if you get the awareness, and if you're able to get that kind of a sensitivity towards violating copyrights, I think our purpose is served.
Yes.
As I mentioned to you in the beginning, we expect all our students to be IP literate by end of this course. Once you are able to get that IP literacy, then you will be able to communicate, you will be able to understand what is happening in and around in your domain, particularly the science and technology area, so that it will enhance your understanding and your interactive capability. And ultimately, once you develop a passion for intellectual property rights, you will become a creator as well in the time to come. So thank you all once again for your patient listening and staying even up to this time. I think good number of students, around 500 students, I think, have participated today. I expect and I wish the remaining, I think another 4 or 5 classes are there. All of you should attend in large number and get benefit out of our experts, we should be thankful to the university management for organizing and giving this opportunity for all of us to organize this course and invite the top class experts from the country to teach you on intellectual property rights. Thank you very much, Dr. Kanika, and thank you all, my dear students. See you tomorrow with another lecture with another expert tomorrow, same time. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Purushottam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And all the very best to all the students.
Yeah, thank you, and we look forward for your continued